Hello everyone, welcome to my very first review series, and today's episode we're going to be doing Battlefront. Star Wars Battlefront, the beta. This is, you watch this video before you pre-order the actual game, not the beta, because the beta is free and you can't get it because it just ended just today. I think it's, is it up to? Well, let's get started. There are only two competitive modes in the multiplayer side. One of them is pod defense and the other one is walker assault. I spent most of my time playing walker assault because I'm a big fan of large player counts and using vehicles and fighters. From what I noticed about this beta, the game is very casual. It doesn't take much learning curve to learn the controls, and aiming down sights almost doesn't matter. You can literally bullseye anybody from any distance without aiming down sights, whether you're in third person or in first person. The only time I really aim down sights is with the Psycho Rifle, which is the sniper rifle version of the game. DICE's casual approach on gameplay does have its backlashes. Flying any fighters has this fighter assist that tries to prevent you from crashing into the ground. Now this would be great, but if you're trying to shoot down enemy soldiers while aiming down on the ground, it kind of jerks you upwards so you can't really hit your target. But other than that, flight controls are fine. It's intuitive enough to make aerial combat fun, and that's what really matters. If you're in the Empire side. In Walker Assault, the Empire has a noticeable advantage over the Rebels. Now one can argue that this adds authenticity to the game because it showcased the Rebels' underdog status, but it really makes it seem unfair when a Walker just blasts you on spawn points. A good note for the Rebels though, they have the best fighters in the game, absolutely hands down. The Rebels' X-Wing fighters can deliver massive amounts of damage to TIE fighters and walkers, making it imperative to have skilled fighters on the Rebels side because the only advantage that the Rebels side really have is air support. Now the Empire's TIE fighters and interceptors are no scrubs either. With their lack of firepower, the TIE fighters and interceptors focuses on maneuverability and speed, making them the hardest to keep up when in dogfights. Now moving on to heroes. Now everybody knows this is the beta's main highlight, being able to play as a powerful Jedi or a Sith. Now to get to play as any of the heroes, you must be able to pick up any of the power tokens that are scattered around the area that has the hero symbol. Now this is also how you get any equipment and vehicles on the game. Once you grab one of these hero tokens, you can activate it right away, but be careful because getting killed will cancel the activation process. Once you activate it successfully, you can either be Darth Vader for the Empire side and Luke for the Rebel side. Now each of the heroes has a 100-second timer which acts as your life and your timer. Each kill will grant you a second more life on your timer. Now just because you're a hero doesn't mean you can't get damage. Blaster fires will damage you, and especially grenades. Stay away from them to maximize your survivability. Now if you play as Luke, this shouldn't be a problem because he is much more agile than Darth Vader. Darth Vader is much more methodical and less agile than Luke, so just keep that in mind. Although we can't deny that Darth Vader is much more cooler than Luke. I mean, come on. As cool as Darth Vader is, he is pretty slow. Now this shouldn't be a problem if Vader's spawn point was a little bit closer to the battlefield, but usually Vader's spawn point is really far away from the battlefield and you're gonna have to walk your way over there, wasting nearly a quarter of your time trying to get to the action. Now let's move on to the graphics. Now I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but from what I saw from the original trilogies, it seems to be on point. The planet of Hoth couldn't have been done better. DICE really worked hard on creating this as authentic as possible. Soldier models, weapons, and vehicle looks pretty authentic to me, although the lack of a first-person view is a really big letdown. Because as of now, there's no first-person view for the walkers, unfortunately. There's also a cooperative game mode in this beta, where as a rebel you are tasked to defend escape pods from waves of enemy soldiers, which is the Empire. Nothing much to it, it's pretty straightforward, although you are only limited to 6 waves of enemies and a few preset weapons, although some of the weapons are not accessible to competitive gameplay mode. To summarize, I think the beta was a success. The game was provided in the beta, showcased Battlefront at its core, showing off good visuals, perhaps too casual, but pretty fun gameplay. Battlefront seems to be very welcoming to new players, and I kinda like this approach from DICE. DICE could have just easily done a reskin job on Battlefield 1 and be done with it, but instead they revamped the whole gameplay aspect to fit to casual players, which is okay with me. Overall, This beta may have not forced me to pre-order Battlefront, but it did convince me to have it on my radar. Anyway, if you want to check out any of my social media stuff, it's down on the description below. I hope to see you all on my next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye!